Hello. You know it's about to get serious when I bring out this mic that I've had for years and have yet to use in a video. Don't know why, don't ask me. I've had it literally for a couple years. But I thought I'd be cracking down on taking the quality of my videos up because today is day number 1 of the 12 guideposts to being a successful professional actor, written by Michael Shurtleff, former and renowned famous Hollywood and Broadway casting director from the 60s and 70s. Was there in the room with, says, when Streisand, Redford, Vereen, Tomlin, Midler, and Hoffman got their first breaks, Michael Shurtleff was there. So yes, he was there when Barbra Streisand got well known in her big break. So let's get into it. There's a lot of good stuff in the book that is useful. Even though it was written in the 70s, a lot of it's still applicable today and still very accurate. Some of it is not so much, which we don't really have to mention. But yeah, let's get into it. Day 1 of the 12 guideposts. I had to put on my glasses because I'm blind and I don't have my contacts in and I don't feel like putting them in right now. So I'm going to read off my little notes app that I have. So if that's what I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking down at is my notes on my iPad. So I start off my notes with a direct quote from his book that I just felt like summed up the craziness of choosing to be an actor, let alone a creative. So he writes, acting or writing or directing in theater or television or screen is only for the irreconcilably diseased, those who are so smitten with the need that there is no choice. I completely agree with that. I've been performing and acting since I was a kid and can't imagine myself doing anything else. I've tried doing other jobs, like when I have to do my survival jobs, and I'm like, no, I still want to be an actor. Even when I'm like, do I really want to be an actor? I'm like, yes, I still do. I'm crazy. I'm delusional. And like I wrote like a little prologue for myself that put like admit, acknowledge, and embrace that you have to be crazy to be an actor. It's a career filled with so much desire and dreams, despite the constant pushback and rejection, which is all mostly based on subjective thoughts, whether those are professional, on your art, or personal. Because yes, unfortunately, there are personal subjective opinions that get thrown in there when you're being cast in something. And before I did the 12 guideposts, I did like the acting's do's and don'ts from like that he mentions, which the do's were be seen, be heard, just be the interesting of you. All they can choose from is what is already existing right in front of them. So their choices of who they want, will, and can change. He even admits that like the casting process, directors and even casting directors like himself, they may have an idea of what they want, but they don't actually know what they want. So sometimes their mind changes and it just happens to be that you being undeniably you is what they're looking for, and they didn't realize until it's right in front of them. So all to say, I think that is to like, don't go in with the thought of like changing who you are or to aim to please, just aim to please yourself in your performance. So like he writes also, show how sensitive the feelings are to the role within your performance. So commit. So like a make or break situation is with your role. A lot of what he talks about is going with like acting, but also applies to singing and stuff. He says, remember, be bold yet kind. Believe in your own worth. Show that you want to be there, to be seen, to be heard, and desired to be on the stage by being grounded. An audition is not a performance. Use the script in your hand and get comfortable with it in your hand confidently. When given directions and notes, don't erase what you did. Add to what you gave, because they probably want more. Even if they say like, try this, just add it, or like change this, just add what you did. Which I think is a good important note. I think sometimes we like just completely flip directions when like we get notes rather than just like, okay, let me just apply that. Because a note is a good thing, shows interest. I'm not gonna mention the don'ts because the do's are what's important. And a lot of the don'ts are just opposition to what I just said. So there are 12 guideposts, like I mentioned. I actually think I'm gonna change the order. I'm gonna do 2 through 12, and then his one I think should be 12, because that to me makes sense. I wrote it out 1 through 12 like he did, but I think it should be 2 through 12, and then 1 should be 12, if that makes sense. And the reason why I say that is because I think the first one really is like the root of it all, and everything after the one like applies to everything. So I think in this way, if we put it last, then we can see how this all connects to what we just talked about in an all-encompassing way, and what the root of why we add all these additions too. So like a tree in my brain. Number one of the 12 guideposts, which really is his too, but it's our number one, is going to be conflict. And he writes, what are you fighting for? Which kind of seems obvious, but the word fight already gives you a positive choice for motivation. It's not negative. And I think oftentimes we think conflict is negative because in our real life, we think conflict is negative because we try to avoid it. It's confrontational, all those things, but it actually is the positive. What are you fighting for? What is your character fighting for? Is it for the love interest? Is it for the enemy? Or is it something as simple and mundane as wanting to catch the cab? That's the difference in theater and in real life. Even the mundane has to have the same weight as something so dramatic as like wanting to confess your love. So find the conflict, no matter how exaggerated or absurd it may be. So Michael then writes about how we have to find justification over judgment for our characters' reason for conflict, whether that's an active, outwardly written one or a passive, subconscious one. And that's because, like, as human beings, we naturally will give judgment over conflict. Like, for something as simple as, being late to catching a taxi, if you go, I would never do that in real life, then you've already kind of stopped the flow and you've judged your character when you really are supposed to be on your character's side. You and your character are like gun ho. No matter how crazy, absurd the conflict is, you have to justify that reason so you can portray it, no matter your own personal or societal beliefs, especially that. He says a block comes oftentimes from prejudices that we or society have placed on our creativity. So all in all, conflict equals drama, and drama equals hooking your audience. So give your character justification for their drama, their conflict, whether that is a very active written description of it or if it's a passive subconscious one. They both have to have the same weight, because in reality, nothing is truly passive in theater, in a scene, in a film, in a musical. Even the passive acts, they're still actively happening. It just is going to take a moment for that passive thing to become active. And even if it never comes active and is never written or said, it still needs to be as active as the more highly active ones. So passive conflict is just as active as more explicitly active ones. So go for the maximum involvement, even if it happens subconsciously. So remember, conflict equals drama. Drama is what hooks us as an audience, because we don't want to watch a movie or a play about something that we see every day. We want the drama. That's what we're here for.